Good afternoon to all. It's my honor and privilege to be here among thought leaders to first share our experience at the LTA Singapore and for me to also learn from the rest of you. First, I'd like to confess I'm not a transport engineer by training, neither am I a GIS expert. But somehow at the LTA, they feel that they need a diversity in skills at the senior management level. And my role is to bring about new innovations in the organization as I joined the LTA after 17 years with the private sector. So I hope I am able to stand up to this high expectation. A little bit about land transport, for those who may not know, we are the second largest state board in Singapore after public housing. As the Land Transport Authority, we are responsible for all land transport development and policies in Singapore, and these policies include both public transport and private transport. We are also the developer and operator of public transport facilities. So as a result of these roles, we have found ourselves caught sometimes in a lot of conflicting environments, and as a result, we are required to do trade-offs. These trade-offs would not have been possible if we do not have good data. This gives you an idea of the impact of transport on customers in Singapore. We just about affect everybody, and we used to say that in Singapore, no other government agencies have such direct contact with their citizens. Here, we touch the lives of commuters at least 4 times a day. And what that means is that either they are happy with us 4 times or they're very unhappy with us 4 times. So that's a lot of pressure on the organization. Most of our decision making are centered around this landscape where we have 4 very major land transport data hubs: geospatial, public transport, traffic-related information, facts and figures. As you can see, geospatial is very highly, it's a major technology enablement in the land transport space. It cuts across these key functions: regulatory domains, traffic management, civil engineering, roads management, public transportation. A lot of these functions that I have described are mostly internal functions. In other words, efficiency is important, effectiveness equally so. What I did this morning at an earlier session was to share with the participants on the delivering a new value as a result of the investments that we made in GIS. We have found that GIS can be used beyond its internal capabilities, improving internal capabilities. And I'd like to show you a couple of slides to demonstrate this. We use GIS technology and we partner with the traffic police in Singapore to come up with this black spot program to identify accident-prone areas, study collision patterns, and identify potential treatments. This program has been very successful. Over a 2-year period, we have seen a drastic reduction in accident rates at expressways and junction. And these achievements have garnered for my colleagues at the Transport Engineering Group the Prince Michael International Road Safety Award. What we are trying to say here is that GIS can be used even as a technology tool to save lives. And saving lives not just on roads, but also at construction site, because as the infrastructure developer, we have at any one time 30 to 40 mega civil projects going on. And in and around the island, there are at least 500,000 instruments at all the work sites generating 100 million readings back to the organization. And these readings help my colleagues at engineering to ascertain measures, if need be, to avoid catastrophic happenings. Beyond road safety, construction safety, we also use GIS to improve work productivity, especially with our industry partners. Even though we are a very small island state, but things are complex. Just land use agency, there are 7 of us. So you can just imagine a company, a construction company, needing to submit his work plans for approval. In the past, he will have to submit this sequentially to 7 agencies. And each of this process can take up to 3 months for him to secure full approval. What we did was that we developed a portal that allowed industry partners like utility agencies and developers, architects, and engineers to do an online submission. And for simple submissions, these are cleared within 15 minutes. And the most complex ones requiring interagency inputs will be cleared within 14 days. This has been much appreciated by the industry partners as it cut down on business costs. We have not forgotten our motorists too, because we are also in charge of roads, traffic management, and private transport. Something like road carriageway conditioning is vital to motorists because we are just 1 degree above the equator, and hence we experience torrential rain every other week. These weather conditions can pose hazards to our motorists, especially if the carriageway or the roughness of the roads are not at this optimal level. We have started to integrate GIS and traffic sensors in 2006 and provided for motorists road conditions, traffic information through GIS maps. The feedback we got is that they do not want textual information. They want map information and real-time imaging. Like I shared with my participants this morning, we thought our cameras were used largely for motorists to ascertain the conditions of the roads, but we learned that many of them also use these images to ascertain weather conditions, because we are a small island and they'll just say rain, and it doesn't rain in the whole island, but only pockets of the island. So what a lot of the citizens do is that they look at these cameras to ascertain whether it's raining at certain spots, because we have cameras all over the island. This service is very popular. It garners over 15 million hits on the portal. 15 million, yes. Oops. Okay. One of our aim in Singapore is to promote public transport. And that's no easy task because cars in Singapore are very expensive. Anybody who can own a car will want to drive it anywhere, even going around to the grocery to buy his bread. But as a transport authority, that is not something that we would like to promote. So one of the things that we try to do is to make sure that those who are driving do not contribute to congestion. So apart from electronic road pricing, one of the other very popular apps that we have developed is parking availability. Because we realize that in the CBD area where parking facilities are limited, cars tend to go around and around, and they then add to the congestion. By providing them online information on where parking facilities are available, we take them off the road as quickly as possible. And for those who live in private estates where public transport is not so easily accessible. We provide park and ride locations so that they can park their car at car parks that are integrated with transport nodes such as the train station and the bus interchange. Cycling has become very popular in Singapore, but because we are rather small and very compact, one of the key concerns we have is road safety. Traditionally, roads are built for cars, and we have yet to cross this cultural barrier where the bigger vehicle will give way to the smaller vehicle. So what we did was that we demarcate, cycling paths and allow cyclists to know where they can cycle and where is the nearest bicycle parking facilities should they be riding to transport nodes. We talk about crowdsourcing. When we first introduced crowdsourcing, it was an attempt for us to engage public, to give us positive feedback. I think those of us in government or in public service will know that any feedback from the public is usually not positive. It's usually a complaint. So it is our attempt to change that complaint into something positive. So what we did was that we borrowed their eyes to help us identify road defects. So it becomes, and then using technology, especially with smartphone technology, with location-based services, citizens can snap and send potholes or broken street lights or railings, anything that is defective, back to us. And because of the LBS on the smart device, we are able to pinpoint exactly where these defects are and build a repository of such defects to understand the density of these defects and then look back at the maintenance regime. As a result of these several smart applications, there was a clamor by a lot of young developers for data from LTA. In 2011, we launched the Open Data initiative, where we open up our data to third-party developers free of charge. As a result of this, we have seen several interesting and very innovative applications developed by the younger generation. And this is part of our attempt to build the whole ecosystem, that transport problems need not or cannot be solved by just the Land Transport Authority, that communities also have a role to play. And through this program, we give awards to young innovators and thereby recognize their contribution. Lastly, the data that we have, land transport, it's a very difficult problem to solve because it's about mobility and population changes, demand changes. We're looking into future sensing, but we recognize that we do not have the abilities here. So we collaborate with renowned universities and research institutes like Stanford, MIT, ETH Zurich, and our local universities to come up with programs to help us look into complex behavioral science and patterns that may affect our transport demands, because transportation infrastructure takes 14 years to realize. And by the time the infrastructure is up, a lot of the planning parameters may be out. Going forward, we are investing a lot more in sensing capabilities. Today, our ticketing system on public transport generates for us 13 million transactions per day. Buses generate 16 million sensing capabilities, and the rest goes on. And looking at this treasure trove of data that we can collect through sensors, we hope to be able to fine-tune our capabilities in advanced analytics and thereby use it as an effective tool for policy formulation and validation. Our tagline in LTA is "We keep your world moving." And to do that, we need to fine-tune our plans continuously. Thank you.